And thank you very much for joining us here on PM Express. Tonight, it's a big conversation about the minority in Parliament, the NDC front. I'm pretty sure you've heard the allegation is that the front is broken in the House. But most importantly, this is the end of a meeting of Parliament for the first time after the elections. There's a lot has gone on, also because of the way Parliament was constituted after the elections. And there are a few lessons, challenges that the minority side had seen as they go on recess. So it's just a perfect time to take stock. And I'm delighted to say that I've been joined by the minority chief whip, Muntaka Mubarak, who is my guest tonight on PM Express. Thank you very much, Honorable, for your time here on PM Express. Yeah. Great to have you. You. So you're going on recess again. But I guess let's cut to the chase. Is your front broken in the House?
Well, you keep hearing those things, but it's not true. Our front is solid. The caucus is solid. Obviously, in a group, you have all these group dynamics. Challenges come. And I always tell people that, if we run a caucus and there are no challenges, then we are not making progress. But each time you want to experiment things, you want to do things that are new, that are different, you should expect sometimes some of them may not go right, some may go excellent. All of them put together defines the leadership. And I think that if you take it from 6th of January to date, on a scale, I don't think anybody will say we've done badly. I think that we've done fairly well. Yes, we had these challenges that almost threaten the unity in the caucus, within the party. But we are working at it, and I'm sure as a human institution, we will definitely overcome it.
Let's start with the very latest controversy, the approval of the finance minister designate. Of course, it's not substantive, courtesy of your consensus building on the committee and on the floor. Before I even come to the reactions from some of your own members, on the day leader, Harun Adrisu, was approving, it was almost a conditional secondment of the motion. He read a litany of breaches that he accused the finance minister of having supervised, including the breaching of the financial regulations of this country, etc. If those are indeed factual, why does he deserve to be a finance minister? Why did he get your approval?
Well, let me admit, I don't want to go into these things. I have a style. Parliament closed last night. I closed a chapter on those things. Fortunately, we held a Council of Elders meeting with our party hierarchy this morning. We promised to forge ahead, open a new chapter, like the screen of your car when you are driving here. The screen in front of you is bigger. The rear are very small, just for you to be able to reflect on what is happening behind you. But it's not for you to be looking back. It's over, and I believe that our General Secretary has spoken extensively on the reasons for Kenofarata and what have you.
Any regrets with his approval? At all?
When you talk about regret, I don't know what you want us to say.
He was
in a group, a lot of things fit into decision. And unfortunately, as I always say, it's like if we needed to know as a country, 30 million of us, every single little thing that's happening in cabinet, then we don't need a cabinet. If leadership is to open up to every single little thing, then you don't need leadership. So, and there are actions that leadership takes sometimes. At that moment, you may not understand, but maybe as things roll by, you begin to appreciate. I can tell you that this was not taken lightly. It was thoroughly discussed, and we came to that conclusion. And I don't want to be talking about the nitty-gritty of them. Yes, we have some concerns. You have the McKenzie, you have the PIAC report, you have other issues that during the vetting, he did promise that he was going to finish the House, and we needed to have it. But you see, the House was also scheduled to rise yesterday, and if we don't carry on and finish the business, what would mean that we'll continue to hang around here. Easter is almost coming. So, in the wisdom of the leadership, yes, we'll do this subject to this. And some of them, he's promised to make sure that he meets the PIAC, and then they reconcile the figures. Latest in a month and report to the House. So we'll be watching that. What I want to just tell the rank and file and the generality of Ghanaians is that you can be rest assured, we will hold them accountable. Don't have doubt on that. We'll hold them accountable. Remember, we're 106. We fought so well that people at a point in time forgot that they were 169 and we were 106. It was almost as if we were par. Now we are 137, they are 137 plus 1. Why would we want to have doubt that it is going to be different? I mean, we will hold them accountable, we'll put up our best of fight.
They say actions speak louder than words. You're looking at the actions. The promise and the rhetoric is we'll hold them accountable. But you had an opportunity to do so in at least withdrawing your consent for his approval, and you give it.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, that a lot of things went into that. And I'm not ready to share that with you. So
what could have potentially convinced your side to lend your support to his approval?
That's what I'm telling you. I'm not going to the details. So regardless of how you frame it, you are not going to get that from me, because I've told you that a lot of consultations were done. The leadership of Parliament Party agreed that this was the right decision we should take. Obviously, a lot of people are not happy. Within the same caucus, I can tell you, a lot of people were concerned that no, maybe the best we should do is to walk away from his
You could have done that.
But like I said, leadership is a responsibility. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of tax that you have to shoulder. And sometimes the action that you take today, your own followers may not understand it until maybe later, when the true dividend of the reasons why you were doing that begins to manifest. It is my hope that posterity will judge us right, that we took the right decision. But this was not taken lightly, I can bet you, especially knowing very well that we had gone into the first round where we did approval and there was this three, we took them to the floor, hoping that in the worst case scenario, at least this three could be shut down. And I mean, unfortunately, a lot of things happened. Some members of our old side have been voted in a secret ballot. You cannot really be able to tell what is on people's mind. All that you would have expected that, oh, with this one, we'll be resolute, and if for nothing, maybe even run away from it. But yet, leadership stood its ground and took the decision. So you can be rest assured that it wasn't taken lightly. And all I would just say is that, I mean, for those who feel sad, disappointed, legitimate. You have every right to feel disappointed, to feel the kind of pain that you are going through. We are really sorry. It is not our intention to create pain. But like I said, our General Secretary has spoken at length at this. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritties of why we arrived at this decision. I can bet you that we have your concerns at heart. We'll continue to work very hard to make sure that we hold him and the government accountable. Not only the finance minister, a lot of the ministers during their vetting did promise a lot of things. The actions have not even started. We are just doing the budget, and after the budget, then the programs and activities will start. We can assure everybody that we are up to the task, we are on top of our brief, we know exactly what we are doing. Yes, people may not be happy. We are sorry that we are not able to make you happy this time. But
is that an official apology to your rank?
No, it's not about an official apology. Like I told you that the General Secretary has spoken at length. Yeah. I don't want to.
But you are.
I'm saying that
in Parliament
I'm saying that you expect us to make you happy all the time. Is that like you have children? They expect daddy to make them happy.
I guess the question is for those who are dissatisfied. What do you tell them?
That they should have trust that these decisions were not taken lightly. Yeah, they may not understand. Some of them may not be able to be explained, to be able to get them to move away from their pain. But the assurance is that they should trust us. We will make them proud.
Yesterday, there was something really unprecedented. A key member, very prosperous member of your own ranks, Mr. Isagos, held the press conference and publicly scolded yourself and the leadership, saying he's disappointed he wasn't part of the decision. I have covered Parliament for 15 years as a journalist. Rarely would you see another member of one side hold a press conference to break ranks publicly. Even for you with all your experience, I'm pretty sure this pretty much is something new territory for you.
Well, I don't want to talk about what one individual or individuals have done within the caucus. Like I told you, we met this morning. I mean,
have you had a chance to speak to him?
Yeah, not. I mean, directly, and we not want to open up, right? Like I told you, the session has, the meeting has ended. It ended last night or this early morning because we were here till almost after midnight. I'm not going to go into what individual has said, and I mean, that's the price of leadership.
How do you feel about it, though?
When you lead a group, you don't expect everybody to think like you, and especially where leadership of the party, leadership in parliament had come to some definite conclusion. Yes, especially me as a chief whip, one of my biggest tasks is to see how you can carry everybody to appreciate how that decision was arrived at. And sometimes you can do the best that you can, but in a democratic dispensation, my style is that don't try to close the door on people who have views that are different from yours. That will not augur well for our democracy. Yes, maybe the style, how they do it, you may not like the way they did it or how they've done it, but please, we must always allow dissenting views, people to be able to express how they feel
internally
about
and externally, publicly?
No, that's what I'm saying. How they do it, you may disagree with how they do it.
So you disagree with that Dongo's approach?
But don't what do you call it, try to close the door.
You disagree with that Dongo's approach?
Like I told you, I don't want to discuss any individual from our caucus. We've agreed to try to put a lot of things behind us, see how we can forge ahead as a group, look at where errors were made, how do we make amends, how do we try to create one solid group. I mean, let me tell you, even when we were 106, it was difficult to get every member of the 106 to fall in line on every issue. But we managed to get the majority to appreciate and come along. It's the same. We still have majority appreciating and following along. Obviously, when you see packets of these things, you need to be able to accommodate it if you want to be able to lead a group. You cannot get, because with the gators of the people are not robots, so you cannot expect everybody to behave like a robot so that they are just following you hook, line, and sinker without asking questions, without expressing their views. How they do it, you may disagree with them, but you can't close that door on them.
Okujeto Blackwell has resigned. Has that come to attention?
No, I mean, what I saw was
from your committee,
from the appointments committee.
Yes.
Well, that's, like I said again, that's a democratic right. You cannot close the door on individuals.
Cannot close the door on individual resigning from a committee.
You see, even as I keep telling you, I will not want to pick individuals and discuss.
No, but it's a public action.
No, I don't dispute that.
Yeah.
And I keep saying that, look, we are in a democratic dispensation. You and I have seen in the US, in the UK, where their democracy has matured several hundreds of years, and you see people, I mean, dissociating themselves with party positions, and people appreciate that, because another time they will agree, or many more times they will agree. On one or two or few occasions they disagree, and it doesn't mean you should go for their throat.
It's one thing disagreeing, it's another thing resigning from a committee, which is what he's done.
This is not, because others had not come on. As a whip, a number of times I've seen that, where a member comes forward to say, whip, I mean, I appreciate putting me in this group, but I'm not happy there because of ABCD, and therefore... Have
you seen this before? You've been in Parliament for a long time.
Yes, I'm out of this committee, and therefore, if you could put me on another, fine. If you don't find necessary to put me, I just don't want to be here. And sometimes they write it officially, but normally it's internal, so you deal with it internally. So did this surprise you? Why he chose to do it public, I don't know. And in this game that we are in, I always tell people it's for the lion-hearted, for people with thick skin. Nothing surprises me in this game that we are. You should be prepared for everything that may come. It's just how to manage it. And I think we are managing it.
How are you managing it?
No, we are managing it well. Like I said, we've held a caucus meeting this morning. I saw Okujeto was in that meeting. Yeah, he was. All of them were in that meeting. And we've had a very frantic and very fruitful deliberation. We are forging ahead. We are going ahead. We are doing. Is he rescinding his decision from that meeting, or is going to continue? I'm not aware of that. Like I told you, I'm not going to discuss the details of a member, what he or she may want to do or will be doing. But as a group, we are forging ahead in unity, and we are going to work very, very hard to make sure that by the time we are back we are ready to continue holding this government accountable. As you know, in Parliament, oversight is largely that of opposition, and we know that, and we are bracing ourselves for that, and I'm sure we will not disappoint the generality of Ghanaians, especially our party.
Some will look at Adongo's public statements, will look at Muntaka's, Blackwell's resignation, say that is a vote of no confidence in your leadership.
How many is the membership? 2.
I mean, at least from their side, from the public ones that we know. That
I'm saying that from our side of the house. How many are we?
Oh, you are 137.
So what percentage is that?
I mean, I'm talking about the 2 individuals, at least their action, at least from their point of view.
Well,
they simply have no confidence in your leadership.
No, I don't think so. I don't think if you ask any of them, to be brutally frank, I'll be very surprised if they say that. But if they do, that is their view. And I'm the type who don't want to hold things against people's view. I mean, that's the essence of the democracy. If all of us were thinking alike, Evans will not be sitting down doing this interview. Maybe probably all of us will be journalists, or all of us will be MPs, or all of us will be cameramen. That's why there's this diversity. And you need to appreciate that. Other than that, even you, the one leading, will not be able to strengthen the group, because you don't see the weaknesses to be able to work on them and strengthen the group. So I will not hold, you may disagree with how it is done, but when people express their view, it's good to listen as a leader and not to just rubbish them or start attacking them or start insulting them. I don't believe in that.
As the minority chief whip, has Muntaka Mubarak lost control?
Oh, no, not at all. You see, I've been whipped. This is my 9th year as chief whip. I've seen this come and go. Yes, sometimes.
Have you seen it like this before?
No, I've seen many.
Like
this? Do you know we lost a vote before in majority? As majority whip. You've forgotten. We lost a vote before. Because as whip, I've done all my checks. And I knew we were dry, clean to go with a finance committee report. I knew everything was good, so there was no need to whip everybody to be around. Then we came, and the speaker, Leader Biden, was the then leader. Then we came to the floor. Then for one final reason, I realized that the minority then were just trooping in. And I tried to find out what is it. I can't find out. That time, the deputy leader now was the chair of the finance committee. Did you have any dissenting views in the committee? No. Okay. Can you cross-check and find out whether there's something? He didn't know, nothing. Oh, well, try find out from the whip, then Damboche. Is there anything? He just laughed. So, we just laughed, and then we parted. Then it came. They called for head count. And we lost it because we hadn't anticipated that. And I tell you, as government whip, I've seen this before. But luck, the rules saved me and probably the then leader, because when they won, when you put the number of us and them, we didn't have the minimum number to take decision. So that saved us. So you've seen all these kind of situations before. And I can bet you we are firmly in control. Just that in a group of 137, they are not robots. You cannot be able to read every single member's mind at any point in time. And you cannot expect everybody to agree to everything at every point in time. On very rare occasion do you get that. I mean, on the 6th and 7th, believe me, even when we're going for the vote on Mr. Speaker, I had concern and I had to raise issues with the topmost leadership of our party on about 7 members that I thought, talk to these people. I don't like their body language. They were spoken to. Interestingly, 3 really admitted. Honestly, had it not been this, I would have thought different. And overcame, and then we were able to overcome it. God being on our side, we were able to get some few members on the other side to join us to win. So it is, as a whip, and having done this again and again, I don't expect that on every issue that we bring on the floor to be able to bag all the 100. It is a target I always work towards achieving. So if I have 1 or 2 or 3 swaying, I only try to see how can I get them to appreciate the next time around why we have to do certain things, and try to even put my ear to the ground more, so that I'll be able to identify those things even before those decisions are taken, so that we'll be able to work on it, and make sure by the time the decision is taken, even where they may not be happy, they may not get to the point where they may want to come public about their disagreement. That's what you constantly be working. And sometimes when you have too many things, remember, we do budget in 6 weeks, and we had 2.5 weeks to do that. So we were inundated with so much pressure. We were doing vetting. Almost all members were in committees. It's difficult trying to track each and every one of these activities to be able to know what's happening in each of the committee, whether there are dissenting views, there are challenges.
Muntaka is simply making excuses for
No, no. I mean, anybody who would serve in my position will tell you. I'm Damboche. Many who have served in, I mean, who probably were even more experienced than me will tell you. These are the reality of the office. You cannot just assume or do any magic to be able to get everybody to be hypnotized, so that the moment you say, we are going red, everybody say, yes sir, whip, we are going. Oh, we are going blue. Oh, that's okay, we are going blue. No, you always have packets of, oh, why do we go blue? Can you explain? Oh, okay, I understand. No, I'm still not clear. I mean, I'm allergic to blue. Why not yellow? So you keep managing this effort. And maybe probably that's the reason why is the whip that have 2 deputies, because you have to be able to keep a lot more members. So when you have 1 or 2 disagreeing, you just have to keep working on it. Because, for example, you may have this issue about this, where to place this table. And to be Evans who may be disagreeing. But the next time when we are talking about where to put this sofa, it will not be Evans, but it may be Muntaka who may be disagreeing. So you just have to keep managing. It's a kind of group dynamics that you have to constantly keep an eye on the group. And it makes it even more difficult when it is secret ballot, because then people will simply keep quiet. And then when it comes, they go in there.
There are lots of your rank and file who are simply not buying the explanations. In fact, some have said, they're calling for your head, the leadership head. They say you should resign.
Yeah, I mean, I will not.
Will you resign?
No, I mean, that's not on the table, and that cannot be on the table. I appreciate the challenges that people have. People are not happy. People are saying one thing or the other. I truly appreciate that. But I just want to ask a simple analogy. On the 6th and 7th, MPP had 137 plus 1. So in my view as a whip, they had what it takes to produce a speaker. They couldn't produce a speaker. Yet, after that, they are working very hard to come together. We had 137. We didn't have what it takes to produce a speaker. We were able to produce a speaker. Go and review the video. Just check the effort that was put on that day, the energy that was spent on that day, all the things that needed to be done to secure that day. Why should we now be trying to disintegrate ourselves when we have gotten a medal that naturally we're not posed for? Those who could have taken it, who lost it, are working very hard to unite themselves. Those of us who got it are trying to create an impression that we should rather disintegrate. I always say, the God that created us, you and I, on Judgment Day, we are told there will be a scale where your good deeds are put on one side and then your follies are put on to see which one weighs. I only want to ask, if, let's assume, without admitting, oh, it was the whip who must be able to get us what we want. Okay, what price do you put on a speaker as against the price you put on a minister? I know, in a democracy that we have, by just getting the speaker, our country has registered on the radar in the whole world, that we were able to move from an inferior number of 137 to beat those who had 138 to produce a speaker. And I cannot imagine how you weight that one as against maybe losing a minister. A minister in any way that even if you succeed in throwing out, no NDC will be appointed, but another MPP. Or probably the president could renominate the same person again. So I believe that let's be fair to each other. That yes, in the work that we do, there are challenges that come. all of us see them differently. There are things that you think it is easy from your perspective, and those who are in the middle of it will tell you that it is not as easy as you think. You may disagree with them, like disagreement. And I always tell all my colleagues in leadership that, look, that's what leadership is about. Let's just forge ahead. Let's continue working very hard. Many more battles will come. And even to be fair to each other, I mean, you watch the vetings that we had of all the ministers. I mean, you don't need to be told, with all humility, you don't need to be told who among us have put so much energy, so much research.
If you watch
so
your performance on the appointments committee, all the work that was pretty obvious, you're probing questions, you're very researched probing questions. And then you hear the criticism from the base, in spite of all that. Does a bit of that hurt you?
Well, naturally, I'm a human being, so, but once you're in leadership, that's how it is.
Does it pain you sometimes? Do you feel
believe me, I mean, that's the price of leadership. When you are providing leadership, in my view, one of the ways to know you are providing effective leadership is that sometimes the followers will disagree with you.
In spite of the work you know you're putting in?
Yeah, because you see, you know more than they do. The facts, the information you have more information than them. So you act differently. Maybe if they have the information that you have, they may be clapping for you. But because they don't have the information that you have, and you have that information, and you claim, or you say, it's not all this information that I have that I need to let you know. You should be ready when they are making the criticism. You know where you want to get to. Are you aiming at the ultimate? I can bet you we are still aiming at the ultimate. Can you get everybody to be happy? No, I believe Moses couldn't, even when he was taking the Israelites to the promised land. You knew the challenges. That's the messenger of God. But he knew, this is what God has asked me to do. But the people, trusting that this is the messenger of God, I mean, according to the Holy Quran, he was one of the prophets who used to speak to God directly. Yet he had people, some people, disagreeing with him and not happy with him. So I always tell my colleagues who are in leadership, if you expect to please the people all the time, then you cannot provide effective leadership. Because you have more information. Some of the information you cannot share. You know that ultimately this is where all of us want to arrive. Just be working towards getting them there. But if you want them all to be happy, you may never get them there. And so, yes, I know sometimes you hear the rumor, they've been compromised, and you look, and sometimes I go and I'm playing back the video. I said that this person asking this question looks like somebody who has been compromised. Because, believe me, sometimes after vetting, some of the ministers, why are you doing this? You are aiming at embarrassing me. You are making the thing personal. Well, I'm sorry. I was not coming after you as a person. I was just doing my work. The next moment you hear that this person is compromised, well, that's the price that you have to pay as a leader. I
want to take a quick break. When I return, I'll ask him about, so what next now for the minority? Obviously, there are, everything is not right. I mean, that's the best way to put it. That's the nicest way you can couch it. So how are they approaching trying to bring back the ranks and unite the ranks for the battle ahead? This, some say, is just a battle. The war itself is about to be fought, and so they need to fight it. How are they closing the ranks to fight that war? Stay with me. Thank you for staying with us on PM Express. My guest is still the Minority Chief Whip, Muntaka Mubarak. Mr. Mubarak, thank you for staying with us here on PM Express. I need to ask you a direct question. I'm sure you've heard it. You actually touched on it. On the back of everything that's happened, there are those who say, the leadership, you've been compromised. In fact, they say you've been bribed. Have you been bribed?
That's very unfortunate to hear. I mean, I really wish a lot of the ministers are watching this. As nominees, Evans, many of them did everything under this sun to even meet me. And meet some of us, we refuse. So look, I mean, you're coming for vetting. Why do you want to come in? Oh, just to have a chat. In the US, you know the way they do it. When you are coming for the confirmation, so let's say Evans is coming for confirmation, the 26 members on the panel, you meet each and everyone in the office. So they will tell you ahead of time. I want to ask you about Joy FM, your time on Joy FM, and your program, PM Express. Yeah. I want to know ABCD. So you meet them individually in their office before the actual confirmation hearing. In the US, that's what they do. In Ghana, we are not yet there. If Evans is about to appear before appointments committee, and I'm seen with Evans, even having a normal chat, so people can take pictures and give it some meaning. For example, I saw a picture of the minority, the Honorable Haruna Edisu and Colonel Farata in a very healthy chat, and people say, you see, immediately after the confirmation, oh my goodness, this is a picture that they took, I think 2 years or 3 years ago when he came to the presentation. That time we were not even in COVID, so you didn't see no smile. But people are using it. So we're very mindful of that, and we constantly reminded ourselves that as much as possible, yes, we are colleagues, because many of them were MPs, so we are colleagues in the House, but let's be careful the kind of interactions that we even have with them. So when people are talking about bribe, compromise, well, you see, people say that once it's at the perception stage, people are just throwing this. And you know, if you remember, even before the appointments committee started, this thing started going around. I don't know whether if you remember that very well. It was all over. Oh, they've been paid $50,000 so that they can pass. So I keep asking, so who were interested in doing this? Could it be, I'm sorry to say, the same opponents of ours, MPP, trying to do this so that they can create a word among us? Or no, it is self-inflicted that, oh, we are just doing this to ourselves, so we throw this thing and then the thing keep running as bushfire. The important thing is that I have sat on this committee. This is my 17th year, and I can tell you, we'll be doing the best that we can. Sometimes you vet people, and they can be quarreling with you for a year. Because like I told you, people will come, oh no, don't play with me. I mean, you meet, and then you pretend to be a friend, and look at the question that you asked me that day, and people sometimes take it personal. You see those things. So it's like you are used to the accusations from those that you vet and those who are watching, saying all manner of things. But that's the price you take, because if you didn't want to do public service where your integrity could be questioned, people can ask you questions, people can doubt you, people can say all those things, you walk away from public service. But once you are in it, all those things, in my view, are supposed to help you to strengthen the way you conduct yourself and carry out the work. And that's one of the reasons. So those ministers who were calling and trying to meet me, and they thought that I was being arrogant in court, I hope now they appreciate that. Imagine that we were so free, people who were coming, were seeing, we take pictures, eating together, and now they can't say compromise. People could use the food that we're eating as the basis, or the meetings that we're having, the friendship that we're having as basis. Even you haven't tried to avoid all this, you are hearing this. So I hope they also understand, because you still have some colleagues who are still having beefed that, I mean, why you did, I mean, you just see that you were just going for my spinal cord, you were just deliberately trying to paint me black. So it's like you're having complaints from both ends. People that you vetted and their friends are thinking that, I mean, you were too harsh. Then your own are also thinking that, oh, you've been compromised. Well, you just have to take them on good foot.
I wonder, has your 137 strength in this parliament, is it proving to be a curse or a burden?
It is too early, but I can bet you, I know it will be a blessing.
Because
it will be, because you see,
the last time
I know, even when we're 106 and you wanted to TED, you cannot have unless you get part of the 106. But what this 137 does is that it is going to make everybody alert. You see, when they were 106, 169, when Evans is going to take a memo to cabinet, he may leave it with his chief directors to do, and then takes it to cabinet. Even cabinet subcommittee may not pay more attention, because the assumption is that when we get to parliament, we have the number to pass it. Now, what is going to happen is that when Evans is bringing anything to parliament, Evans is going to cross all the T's and dot all the I's. Do you know why? If you don't cross-check very well and there's any controversial issue, or some errors in them, you may not, with a twinkle of an eye, be able to call a marshal or your 138. But remember, this 137 has no place to go. So we are always here. You have ministers who will be busy crisscrossing the country. Some may be traveling outside the country. So if even 3 are out of the country, you are in a minority. So you want to be more careful to come with things that do not create problems. Not like before, when you were 169. 169, oh, even if 40 are out of the country, you still have 129. So with just 2-3 from the distance, you are clean to go. Oh, 30 are out, you still have 139. Even if minority walks out, 139 can take the decision. It is no longer so. That is why I am very confident. Because we are still at the teaching, we are still at the formation stage. We don't have deputy ministers. We are just forming the government. They are just forming the new government. The budget has just passed. The real oversight will start. And when it does start, I want to believe that's when everybody will see the use of the 137. Because, you see, it's not like having a gun. Evans, every security expert will tell you, having a gun and hiding and let people know you have a gun is a threat. But putting the gun where people know that you have a gun, you may never fire the gun, but itself is a protection. People know that you have a gun. What is happening is that a lot of things may not come to the House in a controversial form because we have 137. So you may not see directly that it is this 137 that is preventing this mess from happening. But because of that 137, you not even try it. Because if you do, you know that you are going to be blocked. But where they think very strongly about something, like say the budget, what do you call it, policy, where they have to virtually marshal all everybody.
Which you lost, by the way.
Yeah, we lost
three votes.
But
you couldn't marshal your 3 in the House.
No, you knew. I mean, one was sick, one was burying the mother, the other was burying the sister.
They didn't need to vote.
Come again?
Why did you then agree to push it?
No, we needed to register that. Yeah, we knew we were going to lose, but we needed to register that these taxes were going to suffocate the ordinary Ghanaian. And because of those taxes, we couldn't associate with it. Even if we were 100 that day, we were still going to vote. Unfortunately, that was a head count. That was not going to be a secret ballot. Yeah. So at least we could stand as a bloc.
So that was a protest vote?
Yeah, that was a protest vote. Yeah. Not to necessarily win, because
Why
we knew
did you do that in Kenufuriata's case?
Why you keep coming?
I mean, it just dawned on me that you could have done a protest like that too.
And I keep telling you that when decisions are taken that involves a bigger group, you just don't come as
you protest his budget and then you approve the money.
It wasn't his budget.
He's a finance minister.
It was not his budget.
It was
the president's budget. You know, he always reads the budget on behalf of the president.
I get that, but yes. he's a face.
So these are the to assure the general public. The 137 sitting in this chamber alone, believe me, will prevent a lot of things from happening.
Let's talk about how you want to unite the ranks now, because clearly, I mean, publicly it's playing out. We know there was a meeting today. It must be on your agenda, especially now that you have a respite.
Yeah, sure.
Is it on your agenda?
Obviously, there are a number of things that we are planning to do. Obviously, I don't intend to put them in the public domain.
Was today's meeting the beginning of that process?
Obviously, yes, because you have Council of Elders there, you have the National Executive being represented. Council of Elders represented, the party executive represented, the leadership is there, and the general caucus.
How did it go, though?
It went very well, and I believe that, like I keep saying, you cannot guarantee 100% satisfaction, but I can tell you, largely, we all left there more relieved than maybe before that meeting. And a number of things have been put in place. Because you see, we started a caucus with, I think, about 64 new members who, part of what we do is to do orientation with them first, get to know what it means to be a member of parliament for NDC, the challenges that you should expect and those things. But unfortunately this time, because of the timing, we're in court, so our party leadership couldn't join us to do orientation. Then we started vetting, and then there was Corona that had to let us all go and sit home for 3 weeks. It took away a lot of the time. So we couldn't do those things before we really came in to start the work in this meeting. So we identified as one of the laughs, because if we would have done those things, a lot of things will, many more, especially the new ones, will have appreciated, and many more things. So all these things are going to be rolled out, and we are very sure that by the time this 5-6 weeks vacation is over, everybody is encouraged to go back to his constituency.
Are you going to reach out to your members who you have been unhappy?
Honestly, I mean, that's our style. We've always been reaching out. We've always
even those who've gone public criticizing you?
No doubt about that. We've always been reaching out. And I mean, we were together last night to battle this budget and the appropriation and what have you. We'll continue to be together. One of the things that I must tell you that in especially the minority, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu's style, is this liberal thing. People are saying that it's very liberal, but I support him because I believe that the only way you can get the best of persons in a group is to be the type that can listen to them. Be open, be liberal, don't be too hard that people are even afraid to air their view. Maybe that view that they may bring out may help save all of you. So that's his style, and I admire that, and always support him to do that. So we are reaching out, we are working together, and I can tell you, by the time this vacation is over, I believe we'll glue more than maybe before the start of this vacation. So
that is dealing with your colleagues in the House. What about the grassroots, the rank and file? I said Ngita was compelled to issue a statement 2 days ago, calling for calm. Yeah. Is there an approach to reach that base?
Definitely, like I keep saying, but it's not something that we're going to put in the public. This is a strategy we are going and do that. But obviously, a number of things are being rolled out. I mean, starting, we are all going for Easter. We are going to our various constituencies. And there's a lot of outreach programs that we are putting in place.
Is the NDC in crisis?
No, NDC is not in crisis. You know, it's sometimes because of the advent of social media, it's making the whole thing look as if it is a new thing. Evans, I remember very well in 2001 when we lost power, and around the same time, there were top people who didn't want to be associated with NDC again. People were scared, people were running away. You couldn't even wear NDC t-shirt to go out because we were virtually demonized, if you remember, because we just come from the military regime. And gradually we warm up and then we were able to overcome it. And in 2017, when we lost power, you remember very well, same thing, the demonization, the cessation of vehicles and what have you. Around the same time, the turbulence was there. But the advent of social media has more or less make this one look as if this is the first time that you're having this kind of turbulence. Appreciated. I mean, the times have changed, new things are happening, a lot of things are coming to the fore. I believe that information needs to be taken advantage of. We need to take advantage of the information that people are churning out. Because you see, you go to court, and we all felt that the court didn't treat us fairly. They didn't give us the opportunity, especially where they refused to allow the easy chair to be in the dock and all that. There's a lot of some residual anger in the base. So it's not like when you are stressed, the listening you get provoked. So there was already this. So I understand them perfectly, and I empathize with them. Probably if I were in their shoes, I may be reacting worse than they are doing. But those of us who are in leadership, that's when it calls for leadership.
I see. I mean, I didn't give you an opportunity to respond to the number you brought it up. A party executive, Sammie Jinfi, went public with very biting, scathing criticism, calling you a betrayal of the party's cause, etc., etc. On the back of the last appointments committee approval of the 3 that of course you had initially held back on. How has that matter been resolved? Have you reached out to him? Has that matter been dealt with?
I don't want to say anything about that.
That says a lot, because you're not somebody who would hold back.
Yeah. But I mean, you see, I keep telling you that it's only excuse to say somebody who is not wise that will want to take things that are supposed to be discussed in a room in the public.
He wasn't wise.
No, I haven't said that. I'm saying that you are saying that why don't I want to respond to that? When I said I don't want to respond to that, and you are saying that why? And I said,
so you're taking a wise approach by not saying much.
No, not saying anything. It's not everything that you say in the public eye. There are a lot of things. I mean, you know, countries are run better at the back.
How did you react to it when you saw that?
Well, I won't say anything about that one.
Were you hurt?
Why do you want
He's not an honorary member of the party. He's not a grassroots. He's an executive.
I don't want to make any comment.
You are not hurt. You're a human being. You must definitely. These things, some of them might get to you.
Yes, but I don't want to say anything about that.
That's Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak. He is the minority chief whip, and I can only wish him well as they begin this process of trying to close the ranks for the war ahead. The battle, well, the last meeting has been tough. He's given his assessment. Let's see whether the rank and file of the party who have been agitating the last few days, playing out on social media, begin to understand it from the point of leadership. Enjoy the rest of your evening.